Deep within the shadowed mountains, where eternal dusk smothered the land, rose an ancient castle whose weathered stones had endured countless winters and summers. Its vast halls lay silent, save for a single window glowing faintly in the dark. Behind it paced a weary advisor, his heart gnawed by the famine threatening his people. So lost was he in thought that he did not at first notice the piercing beam of unnatural light cutting through the night. When he rushed to the window, his breath caught. The city he cherished was ablaze. The air trembled with screams and the clash of steel. Black and gold banners of the emperor's soldiers whipped cruelly in the firelight. The advisor had long despised the emperor, but never had he imagined such treachery, that a ruler would slaughter his own subjects. The night sky crackled with sorcery as imperial mages hurled fire at the castle. And upon the highest tower, Duke Aaron stood unmoving, his figure stark against the storm of flame. He did not resist. It was as though he had already accepted death's embrace. The advisor's final cry was drowned in the thunder of stone collapsing as fire devoured all. Thus perished the proud land of Bran, a mere speck on the Empire's map, yet the only world its people had ever known. But then, the nightmare shattered. A young man awoke, a scream torn from his lips. Once he had been nothing more than the Duke's loyal servant. Now fate had twisted cruelly or mercifully, granting him a second life in the very body of Duke Aaron himself, 2 decades before that doomed night. The first day passed in a haze of trembling hands and a fogged mind. He could not eat, drink, or speak, stunned by the enormity of his rebirth. The second day burned with rage. He cursed the emperor who had drowned Bran in blood. By the third, the fury cooled into steel resolve. If destiny had granted him another chance, he would not waste it. He would save them all. Driven by desperation, he buried himself in ancient tomes, searching for forgotten truths about Bran and its rulers. Days blurred until hunger dragged him back to reality. As he ate in silence, bitter memories pricked him. In his first life, he had aided the starving. The true Duke had cared only for indulgence. It was then his younger sister Cheryl found him. She scolded him for his strange behavior, unsettled by this unfamiliar brother. With quick wit, he deflected her worries, explaining he wished only to share the bread. Her frown softened. Gently, he asked if she was free that day. He needed her support more than ever. Later, the siblings met a tall knight, whose armor gleamed faintly beneath the rising sun. Sir Rommel was startled. The Duke had not sought him out in years. But Aaron did not hesitate. With a rare honesty, he revealed the Emperor's looming betrayal. Cheryl froze in horror. Their uncle, the Emperor, had sworn on their father's deathbed never to harm them. To break such a vow was unthinkable. Yet Aaron knew more. Fear of their bloodline's claim to the throne had driven the Emperor to treachery. Only one hope remained: to awaken the ancient dragon's power, hidden within their family before the Empire's armies descended. But Cheryl recoiled. He had sworn never to reveal his gift, never to awaken it except with his final breath. To break that vow was dangerous beyond words. Yet time pressed cruelly. The army would come. Their people had to be shielded. At last, she lifted her staff. Words older than memory spilled from her lips, and the air split open with light, a path through space itself. Knight Rommel stood transfixed, astonished that his rulers wielded such forbidden sorcery. With a sly, mischievous smile, Cheryl admitted the truth. For years she had hidden her power, cloaked it from the eyes of friend and foe alike. Now, their enemies would learn that Bran was far from defenseless. The portal's magic tore open space and whisked them away into a land of endless snow. White flakes drifted slowly from the sky, blanketing the earth in a soft, shimmering veil. At the foot of a towering cliff, Cheryl steadied herself, staff in hand. Though her fingers trembled from years without training, determination burned in her eyes. With a single motion, she summoned a brilliant flame that flared into the sky, blazing like a second sun above the frozen plains. Fireballs multiplied, rising into the air until they formed a flawless circle, a crown of flame suspended above the peaks. Rommel's breath caught. He recognized it instantly. The Inferno Ring, ancient magic, long thought lost to history. The fiery halo guided by Cheryl's hand unleashed its fury. A distant mountain peak vanished in an instant, sheared away as cleanly as a knife slicing through butter. The knight stood frozen in awe, while Cheryl frowned. Even the seventh circle magic felt too fragile against the battle looming ahead. Her voice carried with quiet resolve as she explained, seventh circle magic was insignificant compared to the strength of the Imperial mages. Aaron's eyes widened in disbelief. The diary had spoken of the fifth circle, yet before him stood his sister, an archmage. But Cheryl's confidence was not born of pride. Her gaze turned to her brother. She knew his potential far outstripped her own. Aaron drew his sword, silently thanking fate for the nights he had spent buried in the pages of their ancestors' diary. Those pages had revealed the truth, the dragon's blessing, an ancient gift woven into their bloodline. It had elevated Cheryl to the fifth circle, and made the old duke a warrior whose name echoed throughout the empire. Now that same dormant power stirred in Aaron's new body, waiting to awaken. The former butler could feel it deep within, though he knew not how to call it forth. He started humbly, relearning the sword as if for the first time, for the grace of a true duke was not yet his. But then, the blade in his hands erupted with a radiant blue light, resonating with the blood flowing in his veins. Ancient words surfaced unbidden in his mind. Piercing wind. With a single stroke, his sword cleaved a mountain in two. The land shook as the sundered peak crashed down in thunderous ruin. Aaron straightened, trying to mask his unease, for truth be told, he had aimed at another mountain entirely. Yet his companions, blinded by the overwhelming force of the strike, never suspected his mistake. At dawn, the skies darkened with vast wings. An ancient dragon soared above the duchy, its shadow spilling across forests and fields. The beast felt it immediately, the warmth of its blessing, alive once more in these lands. To test its instincts, the dragon shifted into the form of a hawk and descended, sharp eyes combing the ground. Near the old palace walls, he dispelled his disguise, becoming a tall man clad in pale garments, embroidered with gold thread. His senses confirmed it. Descendants of his power lived here still. Meanwhile, in the library, the former servant uncovered a hidden diary, the secret legacy of Duke Aaron. Its pages unveiled truths the Duke had concealed all his life. Years ago, Aaron's uncle Geron, aided by a powerful lord, had usurped the throne from the weary old emperor. With their father's death, the young heirs fled into exile, hunted by assassins. Only their father's final command spared them. Foreseeing ruin, he had bound his children with an oath, never to claim the imperial throne. In return, he secured for Aaron the cursed land of Bran, a barren wasteland with a crumbling fortress, where monsters prowled and even weeds would not grow. Yet, gifted from birth with the dragon's blessing and the power of a grandmaster, the children turned desolation into a home. Still, Aaron kept his strength hidden, honoring his father's oath above all else. Reading this, the former butler seethed. Could an oath outweigh the lives of the people who trusted their duke? Life in Bran moved quietly until tragedy struck. A small boy injured his arm while playing, his cries piercing the air. As if drawn by fate, a young healer appeared. Her hands glowed with golden light as she soothed the pain and closed the wound. Smiling gently, she warned him to be more careful. Next time she might not always be there to save him. Her name was Cecilia, a saint of the Order of Vivian, known for her boundless kindness and devotion to those in need. But the peace was short-lived. A herald's cry rang out, summoning all to hear the Duke. The Duke's presence stirred murmurs of discontent. To many, he was a weak ruler, unworthy of their attention. Yet whispers rippled through the crowd. Some had noticed changes. The Duke no longer seemed the same man. Hadn't he recently punished corrupt knights who had long tormented the people? Facing the restless throng, Aaron understood their resentment. Hunger gnawed at them, their pockets emptied by the former Duke's harsh taxes. Still, he drew upon newfound courage. He spoke of a grave threat. Intelligence warned of an orc army massing to strike. The crowd scoffed bitterly, They had heard such tales before. The old duke had never lifted a hand in their defense. But this time, fire burned in Aaron's voice. He called on them to stand as one, to end their fear of orcs forever. His passion stilled the mockery. His words ignited something long dormant: pride. He declared the end of hiding behind walls. They would march, strike, and reclaim their dignity. "I am tired," he cried, "of watching you suffer while monsters grow fat on what they have stolen from us. The orcs live richer than you." The words struck like a spark in dry wood. The crowd's eyes blazed with awakened fury. Seeing the flame kindled in their hearts, the Duke raised his voice once more, calling them to unite, to defeat the orcs, and to build at last a future worthy of their families.